Hello, hello. Welcome to the energetic forecast for January 13th until January 19th, where we are going to kick this week off with a full moon. And it's a full moon in Cancer. And this week is a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. And I'm not saying that to sound negative. I mean, yes, there are going to be some difficult aspects, but it's just a deep feeling week. And the moon has so many aspects to it. It is having eight conversations at the same time. And so there's going to be a lot of reflection and a lot of internal transformation happening this week. So let's dive in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time a video is up. And if I forgot to mention, my name's Desiree De Lune, and I am an acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and so excited to share with you the energetic forecast. I do these things to really support those of us who are a little on the sensitive side and who don't like to be completely caught off guard and wondering why things are happening in our lives and why are we going through the things we're going through. Some of it is just not your fault. I know sometimes in the community that I'm around start to say things like, oh, you're responsible for absolutely everything that is happening in your life. I mean, you're responsible for a lot, all right? Don't get me wrong. That is absolutely true. And and there are other things at play that influence and cause certain things to happen in our lives. I mean, we share this planet with billions of people and we are not an island. And so it's very useful to understand the energetic weather just so that you know how to interact with it and dress properly. When I know the next day is going to drop down 20 degrees, because that does happen around here in Austin, Texas, I am going to make sure that I have the proper attire when I walk out. Yes, I'm not going to be walking out with a tank top and shorts and sandals when it is 38 degrees outside. That's not appropriate. So, especially as empaths and hypersensitives, this is very useful and very helpful so that we can interact with the day and the quality of energy, the quality of time in the best way. All right, so I'm off my rant. Let's get going. So we're going to begin with Monday. We are in our final week of Capricorn season. So we have that Capricorn energy in the air. Literally, it ends on Sunday. And then next Monday, we're going to be shifting into Aquarius season. Now, just a reminder about Capricorn, because we also have Mercury here, which is our mind, which is the way that we think, the way that we communicate. And so there's a lot of grounded earth energy available to us. This is about being very practical, about being responsible, disciplined, serious, get our ducks in a row, essentially. It's a lot about routine and structure. So take advantage of this time right now for this next week to start playing around with different routines and different structures that may work for you. Look, I've been saying this again and again. This month is a lot about experimentation. So don't feel like you got to get your exact structure routine down immediately. Go test different things, try different things until towards the end of the month you start to get a clearer picture of what's really going to work for you for this year. Okay, so we have that in the background. Now we need to talk about this full moon situation that's happening. It is occurring, it's not represented here in this time, but I'll tell you the exact time of this full moon. And that full moon energy is around for a few days. So full moon in Cancer is happening. So you see the moon right here in Cancer at 5:27 p.m. Eastern time. And full moons are a lot about releasing and a lot about letting go. And it's also seeing the fruits of some of our new moon seeds that we planted a couple of weeks ago. We did it right at the very end of 2025. I'm sorry, 2024. No, let's not speed through this year that quickly. So you can go ahead and reflect back, what were those new moon seeds for you, and see if you're starting to see some of the sprouts and some of the blossoms and blooms from them. Now, this new moon is a little bit, I could say, complex, or maybe even sophisticated. It has so many different flavors. It's not just salt and pepper here. This full moon has got paprika, it's got some cumin, it's got some oregano. I mean, there's a lot of flavors happening with this full moon. So first, let's just talk about the fact that it's in Cancer, but you see all of these, you see all of these aspects, all of these lines going to the moon, and plus it's right next to Mars too. So moon in Cancer is very sensitive. It has very heightened emotions, heightened intuition. It is very family centered. It is about the home. It's about nesting in the home. So one of the big themes here with this full moon is going to be just nurturing yourself. Moon rules Cancer, so it's in its home sign. And so moon is about the home. It is about the body. It is about taking care of yourself. And it's also about deep emotional bonds and connection with our family members, our loved ones, especially the ones that we live with. So doing something that is creating and fostering this togetherness and connection, rather than, it's so easy, even my home, for all of us individuals to do our own thing and not even eat dinner together, right? So like, this would be a night that I recommend get everybody at the dinner table and, have some nice conversations, ask some questions, have a little bit a deeper interaction than your usual day to day. So create a cozy atmosphere at home and reflect on what you're feeling internally. Reflect on your intentions for the year as well, and how you want to grow personally. Because the moon is about reflection, and same thing with Cancer. It's about having deep awareness about your internal world, your internal life. Now, let's talk about all of the other layers that this moon is going through. One, it's right next to Mars. And whenever we have, planets within a 10-degree orb, this is about 8 degrees away. So it's within that 10-degree orb. We're going to get both the higher octave expression as well as some of the lower octave expression. So it's a combination of both. And it also depends on you and your chart and the condition of your moon and Mars. There's all these little factors here. But Mars is part of this discussion for this full moon, and it can bring absolutely more conflicts, aggression, fighting, misunderstanding, tension, just problems within the home dynamic. So if there's some kind of, explosive fight that happens with your partner on this day, you can blame it on Mars conjuncting the moon. But it also can express in this way, like I said, the higher octave expression, where you're feeling more drive and more passion. And, look, Mars is, it is in retrograde still. It's going to be in retrograde until next month. So it's that like, just get started, get going, it's slightly hindered. Plus it's in its fall sign too, so you might have kind of like a little bit of passion, a little bit of excitement, not so much where you're just going to be, going full throttle, but it's like kind of bubbling. You feel a little bubbling up. And so this can also create some mood swings to some irritability, some frustration, that can rise up. But also really reflect on what your desires are, because that's what Mars represents. And we're here in a time of reflection here. So it's about what your deep, true desires are, what your deep passions are. This isn't about your needs. This is about your wants. This is a discussion around your wants. And if you have followed me for any length of time in my workshops or in my intensives or private sessions, etc., needs and wants are both important. We have got to stop just idolizing the needs of our life and demonizing the wants of our life. And it has to be an integration of both. There's a reason why it's in every birth chart. Okay. Like the fifth house has to do with pleasures, to give you an idea. So it's an integration of both. All right. So you might feel like it's a little easier to stand up for yourself or pursue some of those passions, pursue some of those desires as well with this conjunction. Now, we also have Moon that is in trine with Saturn. I like that. I like that, especially if, this can create the moon and Mars creates a little bit of instability or volatility. How about that? More like volatility. We have this grounding nature of Saturn that is also adding to this. I think of it kind of like opposing flavors, like if you've got sweet and sour, right? Those are very radically different experiences, but they work together. It's delicious together. I love sweet and sour. And so think of it that way, is that we've got like the sour of the Mars, but then we have the sweetness of Saturn. Although I don't think people usually attribute sweetness with Saturn, but hey, just go with my example. So Saturn here can bring that emotional stability and emotional groundedness, which is welcome because, Moon in Cancer already is very emotionally raw and sensitive and tender. And so there can be some moodiness. Like I said, it's sophisticated. It's like, there's so much happening at the same time. There's so many flavors happening at the same time. And you could swing either way. Maybe, your sour flavor is stronger than your sweet flavor or vice versa. But thankfully, I like having the Saturn here to kind of balance out the intensity of Mars. You might be able to access your logic and reason and not just only heightened emotions. And also thinking more long term. Saturn is long term. Saturn actually rules Capricorn. So here you have another element that is, helping you to reflect internally about your future long term plans and decisions. And this is a very serious year. This is a year where you cannot screw around, especially as an empath, meaning you cannot be lazy and irresponsible and not attending to yourself, not attending to your soul, and not attending to your body. If anyone does that, I think they're going to have a really hard time this year, and not just this year, hard time for the next 7 years. So we have to prioritize ourselves this year, prioritize the needs and the wants of our body and our spirit, both. Okay. So, thinking a lot about like long-term implications of some of our decisions, and then just building like good foundation within our relationships, because the moon represents oftentimes our relationships. So let's talk about another one. We have Uranus that is right down here and it's in sextile with the moon. Okay, so that is a nice conversation. This is going to bring that openness, that excitement, and really willing to try new stuff. That's what I love about Uranus, is that it breaks us out of our rigid ways and it breaks us out of our comfort zone. And when we try new things under a positive Uranus transit, it's usually like a breakthrough. It's something that is really great. It's not something that just creates chaos and disruption in a negative sense. It's actually going to add something better into your life. So maybe like there is a practice or a new food that you tried for the first time. And you're like, whoa, where has this been all my life? And then it becomes something that you regularly incorporate in the future. So just welcome that. You're going to be more flexible and more open-minded to try different things, and also even with your creativity and imagination, like tap into new ideas as well. Now, not only that, We also have Moon trine Neptune. So, as you see, like these blue lines, the sextiles and the trines, they're just so delicious and so beneficial and so like harmonious and adding to the experience. And so, with this trine with Neptune right here that looks like a trident, it's also trining Saturn because they're near each other. They're pretty conjunct. They're almost conjunct. It's coming up, but this will add a lot of creativity, sensitivity, really like trusting your gut instincts. Yes. And even with Moon next to Mars here, you're going to be more in tune with your gut instincts too. So trust yourself. This is permission to really trust yourself and trust in the visions that are coming, trust in the sensations or what you're picking up on and what you're knowing. Like just trust yourself. And there's a lot of like compassion and emotional healing that happens around this time. Okay, we do have an opposition here too. We have the sun. Well, we're going to transition to the sun, but sun is opposite Mars. So we have to, that's going to be around till the 20th. And this can be a little tension. Oppositions create tension, create conflicts here, but between your identity and your drive. So if you feel it's kind of like this, you're excited inside, all right? That passion is bubbling, but yet you're not fully taking action on it. and that this opposition can create that, and that's okay. I have been saying over and over again, it's okay if you're not executing completely with great power and strength and confidence and clarity. It's not time for all of that. We have Mars in retrograde. We have this opposition. So it's you're still testing the waters here. For some, it could actually increase energy. Okay, it can increase energy. It can give you a burst of energy, a burst of motivation. But know that, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I think the real fruitful action is going to happen when Mars goes direct in February, towards like the end last week of February. So you can still do some action, but just know that there's a lot more action coming up around the corner. Okay. So really balance that assertiveness with diplomacy. Like you don't want to be so domineering, because that could happen in this way too, like too over controlling, overbearing, too domineering. And so you can be assertive, and have passion, but also have respect for others and their boundaries and their needs too. Okay. Now we have Sun also trining Uranus. So we have, Moon sextile Uranus and Sun trining Uranus. So both of our luminaries are in a good conversation with Uranus to really reiterate the fact that it's time to experiment and experience new, discover new, go on adventure, try something unconventional. That's what Uranus is about, so that you have breakthroughs. You may have breakthroughs actually in some of your ideas or creativity, or even this long-term planning that we're talking about. Like, oh my gosh, this day you just figured it out. It came to full light. It's a full moon. The moon is fully lit up, right? So things are revealed. What's hidden is more revealed. So you'll start to understand and see, like, oh, I see the direction better today on where I need to go for 2025. Sun is also in a good conversation with Neptune. Moon is in trine with Neptune, and then Sun is in sextile with Neptune. So even more so, that enhancement of internal awareness, spiritual awareness, enhancement of your creativity and intuition. Can you see it's like this doubling up of these indicators here? You might experience valuable insight through your dreams, because Neptune rules dreams here, and Neptune is, in a great sign of Pisces. So have your dreams been more vivid? Let me know, because that has been going on for me for sure. We also have this Sun conjunction to Pluto that has started, because look, it is 8 degrees away from each other. They are not in a sign-based conjunction because they're both in different signs, but as the days continue, this is getting closer and closer, and they're going to be within a conjunction until the 29th of January. Now, this is big. This is big. Personally, I feel it's big because Sun has to do with our core identity. It's our identity, how we define ourselves. And Pluto has to do with deep transformation. It's like the death and resurrection. And when these two are coming together, you know what's happening? A transformation in our own personal identity. So there is a shedding that is happening. There is a letting go of an old identity, of an old pattern. And this Pluto is all change, all major, massive change, not little change. It's incredibly transformative. It's the chrysalis to a butterfly, okay? That butterfly is not going back into that chrysalis, not going back into that stage. Like, it's done. So that's what we are all collectively going through as the sun is coming closer to Pluto. And Pluto, remember, it's transitioned into Aquarius. So talk about this next evolution of our being, the next iteration of who we are, the next phase of this like life journey that we're on. All of us are stepping into a whole new phase. And the world we knew is completely gone. It's a different place. It's a different world. So this could also create more drive and passion for self-discovery, for our goals, for our ambitions, because that's a part of the sun. Also about our goals and what we're focusing on, our pursuits and our interests. And when we're talking about Pluto, like, it can be very, very intense and obsessive and passionate. So shed your old self. That is a huge message here. And with this full moon, we're now taking care of our new self. We're nurturing our new self. Shed the old, nurture the new. Okay? That's a good phrase. I should write that down. All right. Continuing on. Venus is conjunct. This conjunction is happening. It's only 5 degrees from Venus and Saturn. This is going to continue to get closer and closer together. This can bring more seriousness, okay, when we're talking about our relationships. And they're both in Pisces. So the seriousness to our relationships and bringing more responsibility and commitment to our relationships. But Venus is not only relationships, it's also about our finances. So if you are finding yourself like, you know what, I need to really look at my budget and look at my savings and my investments, and those feelings are surfacing and coming up, like, I need to take care of these things. That's what that's about. Okay. All right. So that is our Monday. And a lot of what I just spoke about on Monday does extend through the rest of the week, and the moon moves fast. So let's continue on to Tuesday. Tuesday, our moon has completely transitioned into another sign. It has ingressed into Leo. We are still at that conjunction with Mars. So Mars is still influencing. Granted, the moon is moving away from Mars, so it might not feel as intense as yesterday, but it's still there. And with Leo is very, very expressive. So whatever you've been feeling, especially on Monday, that full moon in Cancer, you're going to be talking about it. You're going to be sharing about it. You're going to be expressive about it. But it's very warm-hearted. It's very optimistic. It's super creative. It also has a caregiver kind of energy as well as a nurturing sign. But you might also be a bit more into some creative pursuits as well. Leo's a very creative sign, and leadership. A lot about leadership, a lot of leadership qualities here. But yeah, this is kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve. Your feelings are a bit more noticeable. Whereas with Cancer, feelings tend to be more reserved and just internal and private. Whereas, and then, when we go to the next sign, the next natural sign after Cancer is Leo, it's more open and expressive and sharing. So there you might feel a shift in the need and desire to communicate and express yourself. Leo is all about self-expression. Okay, so there's that. I already talked about the moon conjunct Mars. We have a trine to Neptune, which is really helping with our sensitivity, with our compassion, our empathy, our intuition, okay, and creativity. This could also make you a bit more into escapism. So if you had a lot of feelings the day before that were more on the uncomfortable side, just be cautious here in excess and doing things in excess to escape those feelings. All right. Now to add to this, we have moon opposite Pluto. Pluto intensifies things. Okay. It's going to it's already next to Mars and it's already next or trining Neptune. So and then Pluto, when I think about all these three, all right, Mars, Neptune, Pluto directly communicating with the moon. Jeez, it's here's a megaphone. Here's a megaphone to everything I'm going through. And everything is on full blast. Like all of your sensations, they're going to be on full blast here. Just incredibly amplified. It might be a bit overwhelming, all right? Might be a bit overwhelming. It might create a lot of mood swings, yes, but look to the moon. Where is the moon? It's in Leo, or it needs to express itself. So expressing yourself is going to help release that pressure. And it also is the sun rules Leo. So being around warmth and heat of some kind. I mean, I know it's winter time, but if you got some sunshine and if it's cold, just put on a jacket, get out in the sun. If you don't have sun, find other sources of heat and warmth, and that will help you to release and transmute all of those intensities too. But this is a time of deep transformation. I mean, look, we've been talking about the shedding of the old and nurturing of the new. This is only going to accelerate that process and ensure that you are going through an emotional transformation as well. But one thing to be cautious of, fears, paranoia, things like that can come from Pluto, and that can be amplified with this opposition to the moon as well. But so can our passion. All right. So can our passion. So focus really on your passions. And Leo cares about play, pleasure, leisure, play, fun. So incorporate some fun in your life, and that will also help to soothe out if you have any excess fears and worries that are just really disrupting your day and your mood and just your whole life experience. So incorporate some play on this day as well. Okay, so on Wednesday, the thing that I just want to point out for Wednesday is we've got Mars, and it is having a few conversations. And Mars is in sextile with Uranus. So this is going to bring out again a lot of different and new and out of the box, super unconventional, all right, interest in those things. And then it's in trine with Neptune. So in terms of your gut instincts and intuition, we're seeing this over and over again this week. It's going to be pretty strong. It's going to be pretty strong. So make sure you write it down or record it in some way and trust it. It might come in really clear. And then we also have we still have Mars opposite Pluto. So there is that potential for conflict, and this is kind of explosive in nature. We've had some explosive situations happening just from the beginning of this year on the news, just especially in the US. Mars rules machinery, and we had that car explosion in Las Vegas. So you're starting to see those expressions out in the world by this kind of alignment that's happening. So, um, but personally, okay, personally, like something's exploding out of us. Something is wanting to really emerge, and that's that new identity, that's that new evolution. So, this can be also a strong catalyst for transformation. Remember, Pluto is all about change and transformation into, birthing something new, something more beautiful, something more powerful. So that's all happening internally within us. All right, so let's go into Thursday. And Thursday, we're just going to talk about the moon. We have a square to Uranus. Um, when we have squares like this, spontaneity is not so much what you want to do. Because then that could lead to, chaos. So there could be some unexpected, surprising challenges that surface on Thursday. All right. It can also create more innovative like thinking and creativity. So that can also come from this, but there's probably going to be some kind of internal shakeup that you're going to have to deal with, reconcile, and just address. Now, on Friday, we have a major change of the moon. The moon leaves Leo and it enters into Virgo. And Virgo is an earth sign. Now, it is ruled by Mercury, so it loves to worry and it loves to think about a lot of things. It likes to analyze, but it's more logical, it's more practical. Whereas, in Leo, it was a little bit more emotionally expressive. Here, it's more in the mind, okay? The moon is going to be more in the mind. So it's very service oriented. So you'll probably want to like nurture others, help others, take care of others. That's what's going to feel very satisfying. It loves routine. Like it's an earth sign, right? So practicality and some groundedness in routine is what it's going to crave. So being out in nature too, being out like grounding would be a really good technique as well. Considering the fact that moon is in some oppositions, so it has an opposition to Venus that can create some tension and conflicts and misunderstandings within our relationships. It can also like you want to be close with someone, but then you're afraid to be vulnerable. So there is that back and forth kind of sensation. You're going to be very sensitive in relationships, probably not going to do well with criticism this time. You probably will deliver criticism. And advice and opinions, but this one can also bring about some creative expression too. Just Venus is the planet of art and beauty, right? So it can stimulate that as well when we have an opposition. Oppositions, they bring out both, just like conjunctions. Conjunctions are when they're next to each other, and oppositions are when they're literally like 180 degrees apart, plus or minus 10 degrees. Those placements, those positions between two planets and or luminaries, they are going to have a combination of both the positive side and the more challenging side of their interactions. So it's a combination of both. Okay, we also have Moon trine Mercury, which I do like that. This is going to really, I mean, look, Mercury rules Virgo. So the way that you're processing situations and information and problems, you're gonna like really comb through a lot of the details and be very thorough and analytical, and have very sound make sound judgments and give good advice. Like I like this interaction here with this trine with Mercury. We also have Moon square Jupiter. This can lead to overindulgence. Oh, Jupiter's right here. That looks like a 4, and there's a red line. This can lead to overindulgence, whether it's, with food or shopping or relationships, like spending way too much time with people, like kind of overstaying your welcome, feelings exaggerated, problems exaggerated. There's a lot of exaggeration that comes with Jupiter when we're dealing with squares. But it's also a lot of personal growth, okay? Learning through challenging emotional experiences will lead you to a lot of personal growth. We also have moon opposite Saturn. So Friday can be very mentally busy and a little bit heavy too, and confusing. Because when we're well, actually, no, it's more Saturn. Saturn, it can create a lot of self doubt and uncertainty. And so then your mind is probably going to be kicking onto overdrive and then turn into worry. So do things that are earthy in nature. Do some cooking, do stuff with your hands. Okay. Mercury rules the hands. So doing that might be very soothing and comforting and help you to move through some of that fear and doubt and uncertainty. But sometimes Saturn feels like a cloud, just like a cloud of heaviness that just, you kind of feel weighed down and not feeling this incredible like drive. We probably had a lot more drive earlier in the week, and then it's starting to feel quite heavy here on Friday. Okay. So let's see. Let's continue on to Saturday. Saturday, we have some better conversations for the moon. So Saturday should feel quite nice. We have trine the moon with sun trine the moon. So that's going to bring a bit more like internal peace emotionally, feeling more integrated and harmonious, much better for decision making. Much better. Like decision making is just going to be easier for you on this day. Moon sextile Mars, that is going to help with some motivation to pursue certain things, some desire, a little bit more proactivity. Again, remember it's in its fall in Cancer and it's retrograde. So Mars is not in its full power. Okay. It's not in its full power. But we're going to get some of it. We're going to get a little hint of it. We also have moon that is trining Uranus. So this is that independence, that freedom that we're seeking. And actually, look, we have a grand trine between the sun, the moon, and Uranus. So talk about I feel like you're going to have like an emotional breakthrough, an identity breakthrough. Like you're going to come out from the cloud of Friday and be like, wow, maybe even go through a little dark night of the soul at some points in this week. But it's like, the skies just completely clear up here on Saturday. And there is you're going to feel more revitalized on this day. You're going to probably have powerful intuitive insights, creativity on hyperdrive. I mean, just a lot of open-mindedness and learning of new about yourself. You're going to learn so much about yourself. And I would say it's your true self, okay? Like we've been breaking through the BS, like this beginning of this year. It's a lot of breaking through the BS and really connecting into the real and true essence of who we are, each and every one of us. Okay, so we've got that. We do have moon in opposition with Neptune, which can bring one, sensitivity, but also some confusion. However, I'm not too worried about that because we've got this grand trine between moon, Uranus, and sun, and then we have Mars sextile. So I'm not even gonna worry about that. We have to consider all the factors here. Moon is also, I'm really not worried because Moon is also in trine with Pluto. So not because, Sun and Pluto are conjunct. And so they're also in trine too. And Pluto is very revealing of the hidden. It's very transformative. It's emotionally healing. It's in a good blue line conversation. So I'm super, super happy about how powerful you're going to feel on this day, how confident and more clear, I mean, we're still getting there, but you're going to feel a lot more clear, a lot more confident, a lot more excited, a lot more certain about who you are and where you're going and what your role is in this lifetime. So very nice day. I like this one. And then Sunday, just to top it off, I call it a triny day because we have so many trines to the moon. And the moon is now in Libra, which is a really calm sign. Okay. Libra is about beauty and art and harmony and peace. We want peace everywhere in every sense. Okay. Peace in our relationships, peace in our environment, peace in balance and harmony and colors and textures and all of that, and our food, the presentation. Like, it's just a harmonious location for the moon. So it is wanting cooperation. It's very charming. It's very engaging. It's very social. So it's a nice placement. And not only that, we've got like all of these trines happening too. So we've got moon that is trine the sun, which already provides like a great sense of emotional well-being and integration, just really like feeling connected to yourself and your intuition and instincts. Is also a good time to make decisions when we have a trine situation between the sun and the moon. You're just really, it's like your head and your heart are aligned, and it's clean. That communication between intuition and logic is nice and clear. We also have moon trine Jupiter. That's lovely. That's going to bring that a sense of feeling positive and optimistic and hopeful and even just contentment. There's a lot of warmth here, a lot of generosity, a lot of just openness, and a lot of growth too, because Jupiter makes things big. And then lastly, we've got moon trine Pluto, which we had that on Saturday, but it just continues on to Sunday too. And this is that like understanding, having emotional awareness, having internal awareness, and really understanding others too. It's a very insightful combination here, or an aspect. It's an insightful aspect where you really see your own hidden self, your hidden motivations, as well as the hidden motivations of others. So this does enhance your intuition and sensitivity too. So you're going to feel yourself more profoundly, and this is what I like about it. You're going to just, your sense of self-awareness is really going to expand this week, where you're not like, oh, I don't know who I am, and I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm not like, I don't know. Like, if that's kind of your usual jam of I don't know, what I love about this week is that's not going to be your line. That's not going to be your story. I mean, you're going through a deep, energetic, transformative process of knowing, of understanding, of clarity. So whether you're ready for it or not, it's a coming through, and it's going to be really exciting. So if you have revelations, okay, please do comment below and share with us what you're learning about yourself, what you are certain about yourself, what you know about yourself. What do you know? Answer those questions. Like, what do I know about myself? And this full moon is just going to be so illuminating and so revealing for each and every one of us. So thank you so much for sticking around for the forecast. If you haven't yet checked out the 2025 energetic forecast for the year, please go ahead and do so. I will link that down below as well. And if you would love to learn more about how to interact with all of these cosmic energies, then please check out Rise and Thrive. That is my membership community where I give you all the tools and all the tips and the essential oils and things that are very, very helpful as we move through this year. Because this year, ooh, we got to be present. We got to be present. We got to be engaged. And like I said in my 2025 forecast, us hypersensitives, no more on the sidelines. We're not going to be on the sidelines anymore. It is time to get involved. It is time to become active. It's time to re engage with your gifts and re engage with the world. Okay, I love you so much. Thank you. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and share away. And until next time, take care of yourself.